Good morning, everybody. It's Doc. So here is one of those posts again from the Black conscious community, from those of deal with African spirituality and Black atheism. Let's just get to it. Those who are sinners, those who practice rebellion against God. Meditate to the universe, raise your hands up and call on the universe to manifest itself in a subtle way, easy for you to understand if you want to change. It's magnetic energy and not corrupt practices, ways of men and women. Pray, meditate, direct to the universe and no middleman. Let's talk about the multiple fallacies that come out of this, but not even that, the whole mindset of why this has always been a problem since the beginning of time. And I'll even using a story out of the biblical text to show you the mindset of man and why it's so problematic. Ultimately, this is about man's ability to control things around him, and he does not want to be ruled over or anyone have authority over him. We see it in our everyday practice. We see posts on Facebook where people talk about their bosses. We see how people are against police, and we understand there's corrupt policemen out there. We understand there's corrupt managers and corrupt politicians, but that's not every single person. And we see ultimately that no one wants to be having authority, anyone have authority over them. We see how this is happening even within our families, where you no longer see the strong family structure. Honestly, most of the Black conscious community, there's not a two-parent home. Okay, we understand that this also happens within churches, but now we're talking about in our community, in the African American community, this is something that's actually pushed where you don't have two parents within the home. Why is that? Because again, we don't want anyone to have, we don't want to, really don't want to work with anybody, but most of all, we don't want to have any structure in which we think someone's going to have authority and rule over us. When people talk about the man, that the woman being subject to the man, they don't even look at the rest of the scripture where the man is subject to the woman, because they're in as helpers to each other, and they understand and love each other. And that's a whole nother video, as Christ loves the church. But here's the deal. The deal is that you constantly want, what men want actually is something that they can, it's not a matter of understanding, but control it. If they can get a complete understanding of it, then they control it and create something on their own. That's ultimately what it always comes down to. When you look at the story of Cain and Abel, understanding that as what God did for Adam and Eve in the garden, removing them from it, and Adam and Eve had an understanding of it, if you really study the scripture, you realize that this had to be something that was told to their sons and all of their other children. So when their sons came and presented themselves to God and presented an altar, Cain came to him with, look at what I can do. Look at how I can do things. And this is my understanding of who you are. You basically would celebrate me by what I do. Look at all this stuff, and I'm doing you a favor, God, by showing you what I've done and offering it to you. You should be able to accept this because I did it. What Abel did was understand that there's nothing I can do. And I realized that the same thing that you did for my father and my mother in representation of a life for a life, as well as the love that you have for us, even when they rebelled against you, I present myself in that same way because I realized I can't save myself. I can do nothing, and I have understanding of who you are as God. And that's one of the reasons why God favored Abel's sacrifice over Cain, because this is the mindset of those of the Black conscious community. I want to show you what I can do, and I want to control and rule the universe. I want to be my own God. We hear it all the time. We are gods. It's constantly you hear that scripture that we are gods, yet they don't read the rest of that scripture. It says, but you are die as mere men. In other words, you're weak. Let's think about this. Honestly, think about it. Look how fragile we are. The smallest, something that's smaller than any of our cells can get within us and kill us within a matter of seconds, a matter of time. All it takes is one small little metal thing that gets fired out of a gun and ends our life. Yet we've seen people create businesses and buildings and cars and create giant missiles and create war. But yet all it takes is one simple thing to take your life out just like that. Some God. Impressive. But yet at the same time, these same individuals, they do not want to bow down to the God who knows the thoughts and minds of men, the God who knows their life from the beginning to the end. And then yet you see posts like this to the universe. In other words, here's that atheistic thought. Here's that mindset as, well, the universe operates in some form or fashion. I'm just going to pray to the universe because in reality, the universe is supposed to really bow down to me. This is ultimately what it comes down to. And yes, this even happens in a lot of church organizations where people are trying to force God to do something. And the reality is that's not how it works. We've got to get an understanding of who God is, who he is, who Christ is. and what are their desires for our lives. It's not the other way around. So again, when you see posts like this, only thing I can think of is spirit of dumb. I'm out.